You just landed a massive promotion. Your salary finally hit that success threshold, yet you're more stressed about your bank balance than when you were an intern. The promotion you thought was an exit ramp from struggle is actually a high-speed lane into financial captivity. Today, you'll learn the invisible raise strategy to reclaim your profit margin and turn your career growth into actual freedom instead of just more expensive bills. What makes this moment so confusing is that, on paper, everything looks right. The title changed, the number changed, the expectations around you changed. Friends congratulate you, family members relax a little, and society quietly checks a box next to your name that says, "Made it." Yet internally, something feels off. Instead of relief, there's pressure. Instead of confidence, there's a constant mental math problem running in the background of your mind. This is the paradox of modern success: external validation paired with internal anxiety. You just got the news you've been waiting for. The promotion is official. Your salary jumped from $60,000 to $80,000, and for a fleeting moment, you felt like you'd finally arrived. You updated your social profiles, maybe you finally leased that car you'd been eyeing, or you moved into that apartment with the floor-to-ceiling windows. But fast forward 6 months, and the knot in your stomach is back. Somehow, despite making $20,000 more per year, you're still counting the days until the next direct deposit. The excitement faded faster than you expected. The new normal arrived quietly, without asking permission. Bills adjusted upward, expectations recalibrated. What once felt like abundance now feels tight again. This is usually the moment people assume they need yet another raise, another promotion, another jump up the ladder. Very few stop to question whether the ladder itself is leaning against the wrong wall. My name is Axel, and I've spent years analyzing the invisible financial tripwires that keep the most successful people I know in a state of high-income poverty. The truth is, making more money is a complete scam if you don't understand the psychological game being played with your brain. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why your latest raise might be the most dangerous thing to happen to your wealth, and how to install a promotion firewall to ensure your next career jump actually makes you free. This isn't about budgeting apps or extreme frugality. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that the system is designed to absorb every dollar you earn and convert it into obligations. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you break it, you stop playing defense with your money and start playing offense.
Have you ever stopped to wonder why school taught you to solve for the hypotenuse of a triangle, but never how to solve for the tax implications of a performance bonus? You learned about the dates of historical revolutions, but you never learned how to stop your lifestyle from revolting against your savings. We graduate with the skills to earn a paycheck, but zero skills on how to keep one. Only about half of adults can demonstrate basic financial literacy, and when you enter the corporate world, you're essentially a Formula One driver who only knows how to ride a tricycle. You're expected to perform at a high level in a system that never explained its rules to you. Mistakes aren't framed as lessons, they're framed as personal failures. But most financial stress isn't the result of irresponsibility, it's the result of missing information and unchecked momentum. Here is the first revelation that should make you uncomfortable. $80,000 is not $80,000. By the time the government takes their slice for federal and state taxes, and your employer pulls out health insurance and 401k contributions, that life-changing raise looks a lot more like survival wages. But your brain doesn't adjust its expectations based on the net take-home pay. It adjusts based on that big, shiny number in your offer letter. Your ego celebrates gross income. Your reality lives on net income. That gap between perception and reality is where most financial stress is born. You feel richer, so you act richer, even though your actual spending power hasn't increased nearly as much as you think it has. Before we go further, I have a question for you. If your boss offered you a $10,000 raise but told you that you were required to spend $11,000 more on your lifestyle to keep the job, would you take it?
Most of you are doing exactly that without even realizing it. This question is uncomfortable because it exposes the trade you've already made. No one forced you. It happened gradually, quietly, and socially.
This happens because of Parkinson's law. In the world of money, it means your expenses will always rise to meet your income. It's like financial gravity. You get a bigger paycheck, and suddenly you need a better gym, need a newer phone, and need to live in a neighborhood that reflects your new status. The average person saves less than 5% of their income, and that percentage stays the same whether they make $40K or $400K. You're not building an empire, you're just a more expensive version of the person you used to be. Income growth without control doesn't create freedom, it creates fragility. The higher your fixed costs climb, the less flexible your life becomes. Then comes the reward fallacy. This is the internal voice that whispers, "You worked 60 hours a week for this promotion. You deserve to enjoy it." So you buy a Trojan horse, a luxury purchase that smuggles in a new identity. That fancy car or designer watch isn't just a one-time cost. It resets your psychological baseline. Suddenly, the person you were 24 months ago who was happy in a used car and a modest apartment feels like a stranger you're embarrassed to know. What you call a reward often becomes a requirement, and once it becomes a requirement, it owns you. Think about the $1,200 jacket. Does it keep you warmer than the $50 one? No, it just tells a story about who you are. The problem is, that story has a very high monthly subscription fee called maintenance of status. Let's look at the math that Wall Street doesn't want you to see. Your wealth has almost nothing to do with your salary and everything to do with your gap, the space between what you earn and what you spend. I know a teacher making $55,000 who saves 20% and is on track to retire a millionaire. I also know a lawyer making $250,000 who identifies as paycheck to paycheck because their gap is zero. The teacher is wealthy. The lawyer is just moving a lot of money around for the benefit of their creditors. The gap is invisible, but its effects compound relentlessly. Every year you protect it, your future options expand. Every year you ignore it, your choices shrink.
Why do we do this? Because humans are hardwired to compare. When you get promoted, your social circle shifts. You start comparing yourself to the people in the higher tax brackets. If your new coworkers all drive Teslas and take European vacations, your perfectly functional life starts to feel like a piece of junk. You're playing a game where you don't know the score, but you assume everyone else is winning. In reality, most of the people you're trying to impress are financing their performance of wealth with debt. Comparison turns contentment into dissatisfaction almost overnight. And dissatisfaction is incredibly profitable for everyone except you. Here is the twist. Spending money to look successful is the fastest way to ensure you never actually become successful. Being rich is about spending. Being wealthy is about having. They are opposite behaviors. So, how do we stop the promotion from making us poorer? We use the invisible raise strategy. This is the deliverable for today's video. Step 1. The firewall setup. The moment you get a raise, you do not let that money enter your checking account. You set up an automated transfer to your brokerage or savings account for 100% of the increase. You continue living on your old salary. Since you're already used to that lifestyle, there is no sacrifice. You're just capturing the gap before your ego can spend it. This step works because it removes willpower from the equation. Automation beats motivation every time. Step 2. The Not Now list. For the first 90 days after a promotion, you are banned from making any lifestyle upgrades. No new leases, no new subscriptions, no celebratory gadgets. This allows the dopamine of the win to settle so you can make rational decisions instead of emotional ones. Delayed decisions are often better decisions. Time reveals what you actually value versus what you momentarily want. Step 3. Calculating future value.
Before you upgrade your apartment for an extra $500 a month, run the math. That $500 invested at 8% over 20 years is $290,000. Is the granite countertop worth $290,000 to your 50-year-old self? Usually the answer is no. Every purchase is a trade with your future. The question is whether that trade is intentional or accidental. True success isn't a big house or a fancy title. It's walking away money. It's the ability to say no to a toxic boss or a soul-crushing project because your lifestyle doesn't require you to be desperate. When you widen your gap, you're not just saving money, you're buying back your own time. Every dollar you capture from your promotion is a soldier you've recruited to fight for your future autonomy. Freedom doesn't announce itself loudly. It arrives quietly, through consistency and restraint. I want you to pause right now. Calculate your gap from last month. Income minus total expenses. If that number is less than 10%, you aren't winning. You're just surviving at a higher altitude. Write that number down and commit to doubling it with your next raise. The system wants you trapped. It needs you to keep consuming so you stay dependent on your next paycheck. Your employer benefits from your financial dependence because it means you can't leave. But you can opt out. You can choose to be weird and drive the paid-off car while your coworkers stack up payments. You can choose the boring spreadsheet life that leads to a $1 million freedom fund. Weird today is wealthy tomorrow. Normal is expensive. Tonight, I want you to look at your bank statement not as a list of what you can afford, but as a record of who owns your time. If you've been letting your promotions make you poorer, today is the day that stops. We're declaring our independence from the quiet broke cycle. If you're ready to stop performing wealth and start building it, hit that like button and subscribe. We decode the psychological levers of money every single week to help you get ahead of the pack.